in your body and affect how they work. This may happen anytime during or after treatment has ended.
From CBS2 and WLNY, this is Breaking News.
Good morning, I'm Mary Calvi.
And I'm Chris Raggi. We have breaking news in the Bronx this morning. An FDNY Battalion chief has died in an explosion in the Kingsbridge section.
Mayor de Blasio and the Fire and Police Commissioners are holding a briefing right now. Let's listen in.
This painful time. We had tragedy today. A tragedy has befallen a family, our fire department, and our entire city. An explosion this morning in the Kingsbridge neighborhood of the Bronx. An explosion that put everyone in danger. Our firefighters, our police officers, the Con Ed workers who are on the scene, and residents of the community. And it is with profound sorrow that I announced the passing of Battalion Chief Michael Fahy, 17-year veteran of the FDNY, a very devoted father of 3, a very devoted member of the FDNY, and a good man. We, Commissioner Nigro, Commissioner O'Neill, and I spent time with his wife and with his parents here at the hospital, and saw the unspeakable pain when they were told formally they had lost Michael. And as a reminder of the dangers that our first responders face every day, the dangers that the men and women of the FDNY face, and the bravery with which they do their job. I want to thank everyone here at the Allen Pavilion for all they did to try and save him and to comfort the family, and my profound thanks to the members of the FDNY and NYPD who also attempted to save him. Our hearts go out to the Fahy family, a family so devoted to this city. Michael's father, a fire chief before him, a family that has given so much and today made the ultimate sacrifice to this city. With that, turn to Commissioner Nigro.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor pointed out, the men and women of the fire department, the police department that protect this city put themselves in harm's way every day. Certainly today that was exemplified by one of our rising stars, Chief Michael Fahy, 17 years with the department. He was on the rise. He was a star, a brave man. He was doing what fire officers do this morning. Our members were investigating an odor of gas. He was directing operations. They evacuated the surrounding buildings, got everyone else out of the way when an explosion occurred. Chief Fahy was fatally struck with a portion of that building, was brought here as quickly as possible, but he was not to be saved. It's not just a loss, it's a terrible loss for the family, for the Fahy family. It's a loss for the fire department family. We are a family. We feel it deeply. We feel it deeply today. We're thankful for the support of the mayor, support of NYPD, who transported Chief Fahy here and desperately tried to save him. And it's a sad day. It's a sad day. Thankfully, this doesn't happen every day, but when it does, it doesn't make it any easier. So that's all I can say is we lost a hero today, and our members are all saddened.
Take your questions.
Commissioner Nigro, first of all, our condolences to the FDNY. Can you provide, first of all, more details about perhaps where the battalion chief Fahy was struck, what battalion he was a part of, and if you knew him personally, because I can see the impact on your face right now.
Well, I'm a contemporary of his father, so I certainly knew and worked with Tom Fahy, who was a decorated battalion chief, and I did not know Michael, but Michael was in the 19th Battalion in the Bronx. He responded with local units to this odor of gas. Members were investigating where the odor was from when the explosion occurred. They were there for a little over an hour when that explosion occurred. It did blow the large portion of the roof off the building out into the street where the members were. Chief Fahy was directing operations from the street.
Was he struck in the head or on his body?
He was struck on the head and various other parts of his body. So,
can you perhaps walk us through the logistics of the evacuation? Were they on the first floor, the second floor? How many floors are in this building?
well, what members, it's a two-story private dwelling. What members do is try to isolate the location of the leak. While they're doing that, other members evacuate surrounding buildings so that should something like this occur, no civilians are injured in the explosion. Members had removed themselves from the house at the time of the explosion, and those that were hurt were in the street.
And was this a drug lab or was this a natural gas explosion? Have you determined that at this point?
We have not, but I'll turn to Commissioner O'Neill for that.
Thank you.
Just on behalf of the men and women of the New York City Police Department, we'd just like to offer our condolences to Commissioner Nigro, Chief Leonard, and Chief Fahy's family. It's truly a sad and tragic day in New York City. We had a couple of weeks ago, we had information we received, and we were in the initial stages of an investigation on that block. So that's going to be part of the ongoing investigation as a possible drug lab, as a possible grow house. So,
Grow house for what type of?
Marijuana.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
And what kind of reports did you get a few weeks ago?
I'm not going to go too deep into that. It's just based on some preliminary information that we received.
Let's go over here.
Investigation criminal in nature, just given the fact that apparently lamps were found there, fertilizer. Do you find this to be a criminal investigation?
Chief Boyce's detectives from the arson and explosion squad are going to have the lead on this investigation, along with Chief Wilcox's people from Bronx detectives.
Commissioner, can you talk a little bit about what you found as the folks went inside, what you did find that led you to the
They're still making the scene safe, so they're still in the process of doing that.
Any arrest?
Not at this time, no.
Go ahead.
Give us a rundown of injuries, civilian, firefighter, and NYPD.
Sure. At this time, of course, Chief Fahy died here. There were 12 additional injuries, 6 police officers, 2 civilians, and 3 Con Ed workers, along with, I believe, 9 firefighters. 2 of them were transported here. Others were transported to other hospitals. None of the other injuries to the firefighters were life-threatening, nor to the other members I mentioned.
Chief Fahy was hit by a piece of the roof of the building, because you mentioned the roof.
That's correct.
What are the ages of his children?
He has 2 boys and a girl. They are ages 6, 8, and 11.
Your message for neighbors out there, is it safe? Is that area secured?
Well, it certainly is now. It's a crime scene, and it will be for a few days to come.
Can you just talk about did you make any rescues? Did you pull anybody out of the house? I'm just wondering, was anybody in the house when your firefighters responded this morning?
Well, 1 person exited the house, but the other people were removed from the adjoining buildings prior to the explosion.
Did anybody in that house call 911, or did you respond to reports of gas?
The call came from somewhere outside the house, passing by.
What about an odor of gas and an explosion? Can we assume that this gas is what exploded at this point? Is that pin that down?
Again, I think the last time I assumed that I was wrong, so I'm going to say that's part of the investigation as to what it was. But the initial call came in as an odor of gas. Members noticed an odor of gas and were investigating.
Okay.
How do New Yorkers, like, how do they, if they smell gas like this, and I mean, how do they know that they're not grow houses in their neighborhood?
Let me just emphasize, because unfortunately we've had other situations where there were explosions, and one thing that people should always do is call immediately if they smell the odor of gas, and never hesitate. Call 911, report it immediately, because it's something that we don't know what happened here. We need to get all the facts. There's going to be a full investigation. What we do know is the sooner that our first responders know, the more chance we have of saving people's lives. So any situation that people suspect gas, call in, or any other situation where they suspect danger or wrongdoing, it's so important to call it in immediately.
Commissioner Nigro.
Anything about who resided in the house? We got reports that some students rented the home.
Students rented the home?
I got that.
Let's ask.
Again, that's part of what we do during the investigation. You know, there are renters in the house, and we're just looking to determine who they are right now.
One more.
Can you speak to the firefighters who have come and gone this morning, their state of mind? I mean, it's very rare to have a member of the FDNY killed in the line of duty. When was the last time that happened, and what's their emotional
The last person killed in the line of duty was Lieutenant Ambellis, was 2 years ago. But, you know, 1,145 members of this department have died in 150 years, so it's not altogether rare. Certainly, the members are in the same state that I am. They're saddened, deeply saddened, by losing one of their own. These are people that live and work with Chief Fahy, that grew up in the department with him, and he's like a member of their family. So it's, for them, it's like losing a family member.
Thank you, everyone.
We lost a hero today, the fire commissioner on the death of Battalion Chief Michael Fahy, who lost his life in a house explosion as he responded to a gas leak in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx.
From the 19th Battalion in the Bronx, a father of three, 17-year veteran. His father, Tom Fahy, a decorated fire chief. Before him, you could see the emotion with Chief Nigro there. And, of course, the new twist to this is the investigation now into what was going on in this house with, of course, Commissioner James O'Neill announcing that an investigation had begun this week. So that will now be the follow-up to this. But an emotional day for the FDNY and anyone associated with these group of heroes that responded to this early this morning, a little after 6 o'clock.
We'll have more on this breaking news story throughout the morning and on CBS 2 News at noon. Now back to your regular programming.
From CBS 2 and WLNY, this has been Breaking News.